Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Podcast Anonymous, your West Coast foremost podcast on the recovery of the 12 steps. Man, I have the awesome opportunity today. Manny Lopez. Man, we get to hear a story right now. I've been doing my homework, and this gentleman has definitely turned his life around. Manny, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Yeah, my name is Manny Lopez, person in long-term recovery. What that means to me is that I show up when I say I'm going to show up. My word has value.
Yeah.
So I am originally from Salt Lake City, Utah, uh, and my story is a little crazy. I was
Right.
born into dysfunction. My mom had five kids by the time she was 21 years old, single mother, couldn't do it on her own. Division of Child and Family Services stepped in, took us in. Originally, we were all in the same home, five kids in the same foster home. It was kind of rare, so it was pretty cool to be around my brothers and sisters. However, I was 9 years old, so I could kind of understand what was going on. And
Right.
immediately I started acting out, bro.
Right. Right. And see, and that's the crazy thing about our disease, right? Because I came up in a solid family, bro. Like didn't have none of that. You know what I mean? And I still my choices, right? And we ended up in the same places, right? I was going through your story. So when you were 16 years old, you had a life changing experience.
Yeah, 16 years old, on the run from some of my placements, the juvenile justice system. I was involved in a shooting.
Right.
Uh, that happened during a drug deal, and I ended up shooting somebody twice.
Right. Right.
Would be apprehended about a month after that, certified as an adult, sent to prison.
Wow, man. And that's where the story begins, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So I don't I only have a little bit of knowledge of California prison system. Idaho, Utah. What's the difference, man, when you got there as a 16-year-old kid, right? Like you're in the big show now, right? You're walking in with adults,
Right.
and what was your experience like as a child doing that?
Well, I was absolutely terrified. And I think
Right.
anybody that says when they go to prison, I don't care what age you're at, like, there's fear.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, luckily I'm from the city. And so I had connections with people. I was already involved in gang activity before I went into prison. And so I just naturally gravitated to my people. And
Right.
I think it's similar to California and probably all the other states is when you get into prison, you kind of have to pick a path. You pick a
Right.
people, and it's
Right.
usually your people you got to pick.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I mean, I'm Mexican American, and so that's where I gravitated to
Right.
is my
Right.
people.
Well, so talking about fear, right? Same thing, man. I ran the hood my whole growing up through high school, and I thought I was just about the business, right? And then I get to prison, and I realized that there's a bigger man out there every time, right?
Right.
And I seen things, and I had to be involved in things, right? That completely changed who I was, and it took years before I got to the point. I was just like, man, I can't do this no more. Let me ask you this. So your term was what, 9 years? Is that what you did end up doing?
Well, no, so out here our sentencing is a little bit different. We got indeterminate sentencing.
Okay.
So I pleaded to a 1 to 15 year sentence.
Right. Okay.
So I went to the Board of Pardons probably like 10 months into my sentence, and they said, you know what? Come see us again in 3 years. Of course, my victim's family and the victim showed up to the board
Right.
hearing.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, and so I would sit in prison for an extra 3 years after that before the board would even consider letting me
Right.
out. And at that age, I mean, my prefrontal cortex wasn't fully developed, and so I'm a knucklehead and
Yeah. Oh
seeking
yeah.
love, approval, and respect from the people that I'm around. So I'm doing a lot of things that aren't healthy. I'm
Right.
getting high, I'm selling drugs, I'm taking pills, I'm
Right.
fighting, I'm gang banging, I'm doing all those things that are really preventing me from getting out.
So let me ask you this. After that 3 years, were you granted parole?
Yeah, they let me
Okay.
out about 12 months later.
So that would probably be your experience where you ended up at the IOP right there.
Yeah, well, no, I ended up in the halfway house after
Okay.
that. So I
Okay.
got out to the halfway house. I mean, I got out. I had got my high school diploma, which was, I mean, accomplishment for me,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
hadn't
Yeah.
done anything else. The only thing
Wow.
that I did was learn how to be a better criminal, learn how to be a better gangbanger, learn how to be a better hustler. That was it. So
Exactly.
I got out with that plan to do those things. And I mean, my family system was terrible, so I didn't have any support there.
Right.
I didn't have any job skills. And so I went right back to hustling, right back to the streets, right back to getting high. And see, I have this problem with codependent relationships. I
Right.
literally will seek them out and look for the most toxic,
Right.
destructive
Right.
relationship I can be in.
Right. 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 Hey, I'm that guy. Hey, brother. Hey, if I can fix her, that's the one I want, right? And it's crazy. I got that same radar, right? There'd be 100 girls in the room. If there's one red flag running around, I'm gonna find it, right?
Right.
And that's the one I want, and it's crazy. I did that for years, right? It was the same thing, man. I would get out and I would tell these girls, like, look, man, you're just gonna occupy that side of the bed until I go back, right? Like,
Mm.
there's no relationship, right? Like, whatever you can offer me, and so let me ask you this. So I've watched a bunch of stuff, man, and you're definitely involved in your recovery community there where
Yeah.
you're from. So how did that journey start out for you?
So, I mean, so after I got out my first time from prison, I would just continue that pattern for basically the next 20 years, in and out,
Right, right,
drug use, gang banging, picking up new charges, extending my sentence. So I turned it 1 to 15, basically like into 2 to 20.
right, right,
Um, the last time that I went to prison, my wife and I, who's now my wife, she wasn't my wife at the time, but that time that I met her, I was on the run from parole. I actually went on the run from parole to spend one night with her. But that's how extreme my codependency is.
right, right.
I was going to go back to prison the next day. Went back to prison. She was a little bit different than the typical women I'd been with because she stuck around,
Yeah,
helped
yeah,
me put money on my books, accepted my calls. And so naturally, I'm like, that is the love language that I speak right there.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. That's all we know. Right,
yeah, so I will sacrifice myself in any way that I have to once I'm out of here.
right,
And
right,
of course I did. We were supposed to go take me to treatment, and instead of going to treatment, we manipulated that, and I ended up going on the run with her for the next 17, 18 months. And we were just running and gunning from Salt Lake to Logan to Utah County to out to Tooele County, just the major areas of where I'm from. And basically we were like the 2019 version of Bonnie and Clyde.
right.
We didn't care. Can I cuss on here?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I don't
We
give a
didn't give a
shit.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This is about as raw as we're gonna get.
All right. Um, and so, but that would result to like our relationship was the type of relationship where we would love each other, we would hate each other, we would abuse each other. Like my interpretation of love was if you didn't abuse me or allow me to abuse you,
Right,
then you didn't love me.
right.
And I'd be damned if we didn't express our love to each other.
So here's the crazy thing. So what I'm hearing right now, so brother, you have learned to identify this stuff, right? So
Yeah.
you've done a ton of work on yourself, right? So let me ask you this. So you get out this last time, right? And you said you ended up in the halfway house.
Right.
So
No,
that's
no, no, not this last time.
oh,
That was the first time.
okay,
So so the last time that I went to prison, I was either running away from her or running back to her, one of the two.
right,
And I
right,
was in a stolen vehicle driving on the wrong side of the road, trying to pull into a liquor store because I couldn't get my hands on any meth, heroin, bath salt, or fentanyl.
right, right, right,
I would overshoot the liquor store, go through the intersection, excuse me, T-bone a van that was
yeah.
turning. Somebody jumped out to help, and I jumped out of the stolen vehicle, brushed this man aside, jumped in his vehicle, and I tried to peel off in his vehicle.
Oh shit.
I was so messed up from the injuries, I
Right.
passed in his vehicle, woke up in the hospital, passed out in the backseat of my parole officer. I mean, woke up in the backseat of my parole officer's vehicle, being driven back to prison for the 11th time.
Wow. Wow. So I mean that little wreck turned in. I mean, did they hit you with the carjacking or is that
So it turned into an aggravated robbery, attempted carjacking. So it turned into aggravated robbery when I jumped out. The moment that I didn't push him, I
right?
just pushed him aside. But the
And-
moment that I had any physical contact with him,
right.
aggravated robbery.
Hey, that's crazy you said that. So I got the same experience when I was 18. Argument with the old lady. She gets out. She throws her keys at me. I pick the keys up. I just walked past her, pushed her to the side, got in her car, and split.
Aggravated assault, aggravated
Right.
robbery.
Boom. All I did was brush her, man. And then I got in and she called the police, gave them the old song and dance. Oh, he did this, he did that. High speed chase across Bakersfield, where I'm from. And I'm
Mm.
on my way to prison for the first time. Yeah, I get it, man. It's crazy. But see, God carries us through all this, right? So I was listening to a podcast that you just did, and
Okay.
I was completely amazed when you talked about the single steps of Christ,
Which,
right? And
which podcast was that?
Oh, I can't pronounce her name. It starts with a P, I think.
Portia
Yeah.
Louder.
Yes.
Shout out to
Yes.
Portia Louder. If you can ever get her on here, she's my eternal friend, and just being in her life and her being in my life has impacted it in so many amazing ways.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like she's got an amazing story as well, man. You know,
That's
five
my
years in
dog.
the
We're also
feds.
business partners.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
So
the
let me
program
ask.
that we started, Level Up IOP, is that started her and I and my wife and a team of people from Utah Family Therapy got together and created that. And we'll get more into that.
We will. So I did. I got online and I was peeping that out. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, okay. So I've never seen. So it's like a virtual at home outpatient program.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
we're
pretty. Hey, that's pretty unique, right? Like I've actually worked in the industry myself. I managed sober living homes for a long time, and I was like, man, I've never heard about that. I'm kind of interested. You know, that's a whole new thing.
well, I was super skeptical even starting it because when we got together to create it, I was doing in-person uh, work in the
Right.
field. I
Right.
worked for a program called Papillon Integrated Recovery Center. Shout out to Papillon for all they did for me, giving me my break in the game. But yeah, I mean, I was like, how are we going to do this virtual and over the phone and over the computer and all that? And the amazing thing that's happened is almost from day one, people started opening up right
Right.
away
Right.
because what we weren't aware of at that time was we were helping people create treatment centers in their own home.
Right. Right. Right.
Typical treatment says, let's take you out of your environment, let's reprogram you, then let's throw you back in that same environment where
Right.
nothing changed and you still have the lack of support.
And
What we're
you
seeing,
guys are creating the comfort zone right there. Like I'm in my home, and that's crazy that because when I so my sponsor lives in Haley, Idaho.
hmm
I just met him on the fly one time traveling. We ended up in the same meeting, got his number, and I've been meeting with that man on Zoom for the last 4 years,
mm,
right? And it's the same style situation. And that was the first time I felt comfortable enough to tell somebody my deepest
right.
darkness, right?
So it's working then.
Oh, it's working. Oh, changed my life.
And so that's where we're different than typical treatment is because we're saying if you're going to be in that environment, then we want to empower you to be the change there.
Wow. Wow. See, man, that's how the Lord works, right? It's time. Times are changing. It's time for new things.
Right.
You know, and that's the cool thing because you guys can take somebody from anywhere.
Yeah, we're actually working to get to be able to take people into our bring people into our programs that are in Idaho. Right now, we can take anybody in our entire state of Utah.
Right, right, right,
I'm in the Salt Lake area, but I got people at the bottom of Utah in St. George, the top up in
right,
Logan. We have graduates from our program that continue to go on and do well and
right.
empower their community and be the change there.
See, that's crazy, man, how the Lord works, right? Because I'm getting ready to start a nonprofit myself. We don't have any harm reduction up here, right? Uh,
Mm,
State of Idaho's not really too down with it. Uh, and what I mean, but is a more like Narcan distribution. I don't know if I'm too keen on needle exchanges and stuff like that. It's not really my cup of tea, but we don't really have the Narcan distribution up here.
really?
Right. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. I'm actually Sunday, I'm fixing to sit down with a gentleman and start working through all the paperwork for a nonprofit.
Yeah, then it takes somebody like you to step up and make that change.
Well, brother, I believe in it. Right. So we had to buy it ourselves at this recovery center I worked at a couple of years ago. And the stories I've got probably two or three guys that I know of that have used the Narcan, come out of it, decided, man, I can't live like this no more. I got to do something different, right? Come into our facility and truly change their life, right? And so I'm a huge believer in Narcan,
Yeah, and those situations are happening every day here in my city.
brother, every day.
You can go to a library and get Narcan. You can at release day, I'm at the prison every day. I mean every Tuesday for release, and we're literally handing out Narcan to
Right,
uh to people that are getting out of prison.
man. That's all, man. I'm so glad that I got to meet you. This is
Yeah. I probably got 4 or 5 boxes here just here in my house. I got to keep
right.
some in my truck.
Well, so and then it's crazy. Like so, this little podcast. I'll tell you this how it started. Right. So I'm a framer by trade, and
Okay.
I hurt my knee, had to have surgery, and I'm sitting in my house, and I'm like, well, Lord, how do I carry the message? I can't go nowhere, right? And I live out in the sticks. Like I don't the nearest meeting's like 28 miles or something like that. And so I said, well, man, what's up with the podcast, right? I got no idea what I'm doing, and no idea what I'm doing, right? But that's what the Lord wants, right? As long as you're willing,
Right.
He's down. And then all of a sudden, so I start meeting these influencers across the country, right? Like next thing I know, I'm on platforms and I'm going, why am I on this lady's platform? She got 200,000 followers and I got six, and she's
Mm.
already letting me on, right? And I was just like, wow, this is God, right? So, and another gentleman gave me the idea. He's like, man, you need a nonprofit. There's grants out there. He says there's grants out there for Narcan. He says, you know what I mean? You just gotta, So he kind of turned me on to. He said, look, ask ChatGPT, bro. It'll tell you everything you need to know about.
Yeah.
God, right? I'm still like I'm about as computer literate as he did. So let me ask you this, right? So you're going back into prisons, you're going back into
Yeah.
halfway houses, you're doing all that, man. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I mean, that was my goal. So like I made a decision because again, 20 years in and out, in and out. Obviously, I'm gonna have some kind of connection or
Right,
be a part of this system one way or another. So at least I'm gonna empower myself to choose the way that I'm gonna be involved with the
right,
system.
right,
And now my involvement with the system is I go back in to be a lantern and a guide and an example to lead others out of darkness.
right,
Um, you're talking about a system. I mean, again, locked up at 16 and then
right,
the next 20 years in and out. This is a system that basically raised me.
right,
So the COs, the sergeants, lieutenants, the captains who are now deputy wardens and chiefs now, they know who I am. They've had
right,
experience with me and to see the shift. And here's another cool thing that I hear from them all the time is, look, Manny, like as much of a knucklehead as you were, like we saw the potential in you early
right,
on. And again, 11 times in and out for me that equivalates to 11 second chances. So a
right,
system that was willing to give me 11 second chances, I
right.
feel like I owe something to help lead other people out. This thing that we did with the virtual online stuff and even just treatment in general, because like recovery is big out here where I'm at. Like
Right,
we have a whole community. But this should have been done 20 years ago, the first time that I got out of prison. My homies and people that
right,
were incarcerated that got out, they should have built something like this then. However, they didn't, and they said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Well,
right.
20 years ago, those trees weren't planted. So we're planting trees everywhere we go today.
Well, and it's different times now, right? We didn't have all the technological stuff that we have now 20 years ago.
Or the Medicaid that will help you get into treatment.
Right, right. So, and that's what, so like working at this recovery center, I've been blessed to learn the process, man. So, right. So we don't have, as far as sober livings and stuff like up here, it's null and void, right? Like there's not really anything.
Why is that? Is it because the city or the zoning won't allow that kind
Well,
of
so
residence?
um, so our closest medical detox is Coeur d'Alene, right? So I just had the opportunity about a month and a half ago. I had to pick a girl up, and I'm kind of in the middle of the state, right? Picked her up, drove her to Coeur d'Alene for detox. She spent 3 days in detox and alcohol. Picked her back up, and then had to get her home so her husband could take her all the way to Boise for treatment.
Mm,
So the middle of the state, Lewiston, Clarkston, Washington, that area where I'm at, there's nothing, right? There's nothing. And see where I'm from in Bakersfield, we have a lot of self-pay stuff, right? So,
right.
I had the opportunity before I moved up here to working for a great man down there. It's got a massive, but everything's self-pay, right? And these people are able to come in and get on their feet, and he's not charging them an arm and a leg, and he's supplying all their needs. But everybody up here, they're wanting the insurance money, right? I mean, insurance is paying a lot, 12, 1,300 a day. I think all the ones that I called down south for this girl, they're talking about, oh, it's I don't know, 30 days or 45 days is $33,000. And I'm like,
Yeah, we can't afford that.
yeah, I didn't have that. I didn't have anything when I got sober. You know what I mean? So that's amazing, bro. So I think that's an avenue, right? So we're gonna get this thing started here. And if I would be able to, yeah, you guys doing that online thing would be an avenue that we could help direct people towards.
Right.
So let me ask you this. So let's talk about the music, brother.
All right.
Let's talk about the music.
I
Hey,
love music. Music has been my outlet and my that's my form of self-care.
so I've been listening to as much as I can find on and brother, you got to definitely got a skill and you've got a talent, you've got definitely a message, and you've been able to push that through the music. So tell me how that got started.
So I've always been connected to music. I mean, again, like early on, taken into state's custody, foster homes.
Right,
One thing that I always had, no matter if I was kicked out of foster homes and bounced around to different ones, was I always had a little clock radio with AM, FM. And
right,
so I would always listen to music. And we have this hip hop station since I was a kid out here, U92. I mean, it just plays like mainstream stuff and R&B, but I would be super connected to this to the stuff that I was listening to on the radio. And then I started seeking it out myself, and then I started rapping a little bit myself, and that was my expression. And then every time that I would get locked up, whether it was as a juvenile or as an adult, that's where I would put my emotion into
right,
making music, and I became fairly good at it. And when I got into recovery, I mean, music has played such a good, impactful part and a terrible, destructive part
right,
in my addiction. Um, But one thing I wasn't willing to separate myself from when I got into recovery was my connection to music. And I knew that if I was going to keep that, I would have to redirect it and put it into a different lane. And so that's what I do is I mean, you could probably refer to what I do as like recovery rap or struggle rap or
right,
self-improvement, self-development
right,
music, something like that. And that's what I do. I just rap about my life, the struggles, what it takes to overcome it, the process that you go through to do that, that there's hope, there's success through recovery, that, when you learn to manage your emotions and learn to radically accept things and apply rigorous honesty into your life and all these things.
right,
But I do
right,
it in a way that's relatable to our people.
right.
It's
Let
not
me ask you
corny
this.
or whack. It's
Right.
real.
So let me ask you this: when you bring up the rigorous honesty, right? So what solution in recovery was it that you used to get to the point where you're at today?
So I think really it really started when I made a commitment to myself. So I went back to prison for 11th time, and in the backseat of my parole officer's vehicle being driven back to prison is when I had my aha moment where my
Right,
divine intervention, where I feel
right,
like uh my higher power, who I choose to refer to as God, came down and like
right.
gave me one of those fucking backhands that said enough
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah.
And in that moment, I couldn't fucking blame anybody.
Right,
I had to take rigorous accountability. There's that rigorous honesty and be honest and say like, this is on me. Yeah,
right,
my mom not being there isn't the reason. The juvenile justice system isn't the reason.
right,
Never had
right,
a father. I can't blame it on any of those things. Couldn't blame it on my PO, the toxic relationship I was in then or before then. I had to say like, this is on me again.
right,
And my daughter at the time is 3 years old, and I left her with her grandmother while I was out running and gunning. And I remember when I got back to prison, she was starting to talk around that time. And so
right,
she's saying, Daddy, where are you? And it really dawned on me in that moment how selfish I was because I had a choice and I had chose to be an idiot again and
right,
again and again. But she didn't have a choice. She didn't choose to have a dirtbag as her dad or a
right,
deadbeat or to be abandoned or anything like that. And I really recognized in that moment that I set the example for the type of man that she's going to allow in her life.
right,
And if I'm in and out of prison, in and out of the streets, toxic relationships, the likelihood of her ending up with somebody like that is super high.
right.
And
See,
I couldn't, brother, I couldn't control how much time I was going to get, but I could control what I was going to do with my time.
right, 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 right.
I
You
just think for me, I was ready at that time,
right.
bro.
It's crazy bringing up the daughter thing. So I just got to walk my 22-year-old daughter down the aisle. Right, she got married.
Shout out to that.
Hey, look, man, and I wasn't there. My dad raised her. My mom raised her.
Shout out to mom and dad.
Yeah, yeah, did an amazing job. Right, every mistake that my dad had ever made with me, and my brother, he fixed it with her. Right, and so when I was going through the amends process, right, I'm going through my inventory. There's no way I could be upset at a man for no matter what he did with me, right? Because he did it right with my child.
Right.
Right, he fixed it with her. Um, and I got blessed, man, because she definitely didn't find nobody like that. She found a little nerd kid. In fact, she lives in St. George, Utah.
Shout out to St. George. Shout
St.
out to
George.
the little nerd guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, out of nowhere, she calls me. She says, "Hey, Dad, I got a boyfriend." I'm like, "Okay," and They flew up here. They flew up here so I could meet him. They got married up here on a whim. In fact, a friend of mine
Mhm.
for the program married him.
Nice.
And he came up to me. He's a little Mexican kid, man. He's about as soft as they get, and I love it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I love it. I love it. Right? He told me, he goes, "I'll protect her." I said, "No, I just need you to love her. Right?
Right.
If you need to
Right.
be tough, I'll come be tough for you. I don't need you to be tough. I just need you to love her." Right? And he's done an amazing job, man. I've totally been blessed in that area.
Shout out to him for that.
Yeah, you're gonna get that opportunity one day. You know what I mean? Those are the gifts of recovery that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: did you get sober using a 12-step program?
So originally, no.
Okay.
And then, so I went from prison to inpatient with Odyssey House. Shout out to Odyssey House for all they did for me. And then after Odyssey is when I started going to 12-step meetings.
Okay.
So I still have a sponsor. I don't go as much as I used to before we started Level Up IOP.
Right.
Just
Right.
this business
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
recovery just is it's busy.
I don't either, brother. I might hit one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's about my hit now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guys I work with them over Zoom because they're all 30 miles away.
Yeah.
But I get that. Life starts to happen. Things start moving.
My sponsor always says, make sure you make time for your meetings. And so even if I can't hit a meeting, I'm still down at Fellowship Hall. This is where we do a lot of meetings and events. And then I keep them involved and they keep them involved because like we have our 1 year event coming up for Level Up IOP and we're throwing a big bash.
Right.
Of course, if you can make it down here, you're
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
welcome
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
that. There's going to be performers and all kinds of stuff and resource booths, but we always stay connected to the fellowship.
Right. So let me ask you about what your experience with the 12 steps was like.
Um, what I really liked about it is it was no nonsense. Like nobody
Right.
bullshitted me,
Right.
and also they didn't allow me to feel sorry for myself or present myself as a victim ever.
Right. Right.
And sometimes I was told just to shut up and listen.
So that's what I meant. So up here, we don't have old timers, right? Like where I'm from,
Yeah,
Southern California.
that's the meeting I go to is the old timers meeting.
That's what I miss, right? Somebody would get in there and they get on a rant, and old timers say, "All right, man, it's time to shut the fuck up," right? Like you killed enough people right now. Just fucking hang out, bud. We'll talk to you
Right.
afterwards. You know what I mean? And
Shut up and make the coffee.
yeah, make the coffee. Man, hey Manny, I'm gonna tell you right now, brother. Hey, your story has definitely just been amazing, bro. This is this completely shows the redemption of what God can do.
Yeah, big facts.
Long as we're willing and we show up, right? We don't even have to know what we're doing. Just be willing and show up, you know. Brother, hey, I definitely man, I appreciate this. This was
Yeah, are we
amazing.
done?
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Okay, yeah, I can go all day, man. I talk recovery, I live recovery. This is my jam.
Well, look, what
As
I'm gonna
as
do is
dedicated as I was to the streets and the gang and
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
I apply that into my recovery because it takes the same skill set. You can't tell me I wasn't dedicated. I didn't have commitment. I didn't work hard. I was the hardest worker. I would have walked halfway across the state if that's what it took for me to
Oh
get that
yeah,
back.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I apply those same things in what I do now.
That's
Copy
amazing.
paste those skills, and that's what we all need to do.
Yeah, when we stop recording, though, I want to have a conversation with you and pick your brain on some things.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, hey man, you guys follow my boy on TikTok. It's SL Manny, and
Yeah, SL Manny Boy on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It's Manny Misty Lopez. You could even, at this point, I feel like you could just Google my name and something's showing up
something's
now.
gonna pop up.
Manny Lopez, Utah, and it'll come up. We're all about recovery over here, and we're doing our best. We're doing our part, and we're helping lead people, you know, to a brighter side, greener pastures.
Brother, thank you for everything, man. And you guys, I definitely will launch this thing tonight. So you
Yeah,
guys,
shout out to you, brother. All everything that you're doing up there in Idaho, and I can see you're gonna make an impact there, and it'll spread out, and you'll continue making these connections everywhere. I mean, recovery is the new drug. Saving lives is the new drug,
it's
man.
about the network, man. And that's
Yeah.
so guys, thank you, Manny Lopez from Utah.
Yeah.
Amazing story of redemption. You guys follow him, like, subscribe, share his music. Man, you guys haven't had a chance to listen to his music. I've been going through it the last week since I asked him to be on here, and man, it's definitely this guy's got a talent. The Lord's blessed him with definitely the knowledge to be able to put his recovery through the music. And we
Thanks,
will
brother.
see you guys next time.